Hi, welcome. It's Gene from maverickstar Observatory. I was watching a report this morning on what's going on in Ukraine, and it's very true. I knew this would happen. I knew this years ago. Whenever there's a time of crisis, not just the case of Ukraine. Trust me, this general attitude is global, right? And we've got a lot more worse issues than what's going on in Ukraine to overcome. For these people, this is probably the end of their world right now, hoping and praying that things change. I just want to draw your attention to what she's saying, and I'll just skip the next few sentences that she comes out with. People have become very aggressive. I thought the war would bring us all together, and then she says it's done totally the opposite. And then what she says next, I think, is very true. People are just looking after themselves and don't help each other. Let those words burn themselves deeply into your thoughts, because that is 100% true. This is the world that we live in right now. The Bible, I can understand why people are saying this is our end times. Look at what the Bible warned us of, and I'll explain my take on that. But the Bible warns of pestilence, famine, earthquakes, war, wicked people that would rather believe in a lie than the truth. And it couldn't be any further from the truth. And I completely understand why people believe we are in the times of Armageddon. Even Joe Biden has been talking and mentioning of that word itself, Armageddon. And I completely understand why. Because people would rather believe in a lie than the truth. Reading just some of the comments over the last couple of videos I've made, I'm wondering, why are we making the effort? Trying to help more people. Why are we going to the levels that we are? Think it's easy what we've done here. 10 years we've invested into this. Over the 10 years, for the last 5, we've become an observatory. And through just a few people, I'm talking, and you can read it in my descriptions of my videos every time. Thank you to the very few people that help and support what we do. Because, if you look at the amount of views we had yesterday on the video, you'll see that we have now covered 7,000. in less than 24 hours. And we was talking about the fact that there is 6 months left. And I just can't believe sometimes the comments we get. And some of them are regular offenders coming back with bogus accounts. I'll tell you this now, don't waste your effort trying to be smart and put us down for what we actually do here. Don't waste your time, because you will be removed from this channel. I do probably remove many people, a dozen people a week, because of their ridiculous comments in that comment section. I've got no time to answer stupid comments. And if you ask me a question and I haven't answered it, I do read them. I do read most of the comments. I will answer your question in the next video, usually, that I do. We're trying our best here, and it just sometimes gets through in your face. How would you feel if 7,000 people had viewed your information and only one person had chucked in £5? You would feel like you were wasting your effort, wouldn't you? And that's how sometimes I feel. But I understand that we haven't even got to the equilibrium point yet. Things haven't got as worse as they are going to get. But I also understand a lot of problems. Let me tell you a few things first of all. I am a qualified scientist. I can prove it. I've got an academic transcript, right? And this is an observatory here. If you go over to the website, look at the TriMag data and have a look how far back it goes back 4 years. Where do you think we get all that data? Have a look at the chart. These individuals just need to invest a tiny bit of time to answer their own stupidity. Have a look at the bottom of the chart and you'll see every month there is over 300,000 data sets that make up that chart. I've already explained myself many times, but we are dealing with delinquents now. absolute delinquents. And I tell you now, the ranks are falling apart, because I think that that's quite appalling, to raise £5 when 7,000 people have just merely walked by. They call us, they say we're not an observatory. Where do you think all this data's coming from? You know, you've never seen Kendall in the comments section. You've never seen Scott in the comments section. You've never seen Jeff Binley in Perth, Australia, in the comments section. You've not seen any of these people. You know, Michael now has recently joined our efforts to collect data, and he's going to be sending us data from a very important point, which is in Colombia, which is on the fringe of the South Atlantic anomaly. That's critical information. That shows that we're still active as an observatory. We're still prepared to send equipment out there. You know, in another month or two, he will have a muon detector, and that will reveal how much radiation, compared to all the other locations we've got those around the world, how, you know, that particular point is being affected by the low intensity. Another thing, you know, I want to straighten things up, I really do, because, you know, we just can't go on like this when we're all fighting each other. It's not the majority of you, it's just a few. But, you know, when it comes down to support, it is the majority. On, you know, a couple of fingers, we can count how many people actually support what we do here. You know, we've got the benefit of £250,000 piece of equipment. And you know what, on top of the people in our comments section and that are subscribed to us, we also have to put up with the delinquents that run other websites, convicted felons, people that sell your children and your family members drugs and promote it regularly, people that say they're, you know, making observations in particular areas, yet all they're cleanly after is your money and give you nothing in return. Just go over to our website and have a look what we have give you for those few people that have made a bit of support for this observatory. If I said nothing at all about it, it wouldn't be long before we'd have to wrap up this operation, and do so at a critical point in time. Now, with regards to these next 6 months, once again, for those people that have something blocking their eardrums, this is a theory. It is plausible, and that is why I introduced it to you guys on the channel. Because I tell you now, and you do, please, you know, examine what all your mainstream organisations that are supposed to be giving you the information, the scientific information on the geomagnetic anomaly, explain to me why you can't get older data that even we provide. Why is that? This world, as I've said before, is almost on the verge of meltdown. And you know, we've probably had people on this channel for 5 years listening to me tell them to prepare for this event, and they still haven't. You know, they've got to look at their wives and their children, their loved ones, in the face of a time of a crisis, and explain to them why they never made some simple provisions, or put some simple provisions away. What this woman is talking about is exactly what is coming to most of our ways. You know, I don't just talk the talk, guys. I actually walk the walk. You know, I will make sure that myself and my loved ones are protected. I have food storage. I have a bug out bag. There's my insurance policy. I also have recently, over the last 2 years, owned NBC suits, because I realise that these scientists that run the atomic clock on the website, on the internet, are not saying that it's a minute to midnight for no reason, and the biggest worry for them is the threat of a nuclear attack. And then over the last week, we heard Joe Biden threatening Putin, saying, don't do it, just don't do it. And then he's talking about Armageddon. And, you know, people wonder why, you know, in the comic section we see, you know, talk of the Bible and the end times, when we see all of us, all what is going on in this world. I want to say something to you, and if this doesn't make sense, then nothing else I will say to you will ever make sense. If every organ in your body went out for itself tomorrow, within an hour you'd be dead, or even less. And if you think your community is just not like that body that has to have all those organisms within it working together is any different, then you're very wrong. If you think you can go out on your own in a time of crisis, you're wrong. Because you will be overwhelmed, just like what's going on in this market here. This is a little factory unit where there's only a bit of food being delivered, and you've got mothers with children arguing with pensioners on they should have the food and not the pensioners. People are just looking after themselves right now, and this is going to get worse as the gauntlet continues to tick on. Well, I've told you what the gauntlet is. It is worldly affairs, not just climate, not just magnetic pole reversal, not just the grand solar minimum, not just the coming, glacial period. It is the economic system, the food production system globally. Don't you realise that it is all under some form of threat? This pandemonium and chaos cannot continue on like this in a peaceful manner. Things, if you've not noticed, are already breaking down with continuity of governments all around the world. Every week we see floods displacing millions of people now. Not just a small village that was affected by a flood, it's millions of people on thousands of hectares all around the world every week. And we're seeing unrest in countries all around the world every week. I've talked about that gambling machine that you pull the arm down and it goes dunk, 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 dunk. If ever you hit jackpot, that's when your house has just been washed away. And you know that machine has been programmed to eventually pay out. That's the scenario we're all living in right now. It's only a matter of time. If you want to be selfish in this world and not help others, carry on. In fact, unsubscribe to my channel, because I don't want people anywhere near me like that. And I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people with the same mentality as me. We do not want pessimistic, hopeless, useless people coming to this channel making those stupid remarks about things that have been proven time and time again. I've got no more time for this nonsense. It's time to move on. This is an official observatory. I am an official scientist, and I am just trying to inform you of what you are coming up against. Whether it is in 6 months or 6 years, it's coming. You are not going to avoid this. The train is on its course, and you are either going to be on that track or you're going to avoid it. And the only way to do that is by taking some form of action and working with other like-minded people. So I'm telling you now, I've got no time. I've got no time for either these websites that regurgitate all this news back on their websites and then run actual people like me down that are doing the work, that have got the equipment to do the work, that have got willing people out there in the field to take our equipment on. I've got no more time for them to answer any more of their nonsense. You know what? They would never, ever say half the things they do say directly to my face. They would never do it because they're cowards. And we know that because they target children with, their nonsense. Convicted felons selling drugs, passing it off as, this won't harm anybody. But let me tell you something now. Just do some research into prolonged use of drugs. Do some research. It doesn't improve people's lives. It destroys lives. So you pay attention to what this woman's saying in this little clip here that I've showed you, because that's the reality of a situation that she's just found herself in. It's no different to a reality of a flood victim, or someone that's just experienced a tornado or a hurricane, or, you know, whatever. It is no different. You know, when you find yourself desperate like that, you will see many people acting in that manner. They are all looking out for themselves. So just remember that. Guys, I'm sorry I've had to do a little bit of a rant. I really am. But you know what? It's just a joke. You know, 7,000 people walk away without even, you know, a few more than one offering a bit of support. It's got to change. Guys, as always, take care of your loved ones, and bye for now.